Hey, how's it going, guys? Benny Childs, founder of the Teach Me to Fish and Fix trading community, and I'm back with another supply and demand market forecast. This is going to be for the week of August 21st, 2022. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's take a look at my fundamental charts that I have here. This chart report was released on August 16th, and so this is the data that I am using to come up with the short-term currency pair bias. All right, and just to give just a brief breakdown, this is based off of how many long versus short positions were reported, and so this is what I use as a currency pair bias as far as if the pair should go up or go down, or if it's undecided. So whenever you hear me refer to the currency pair bias, this is the data that I am referring to. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. I want to take a look at the medium and high impact news that's coming out for the week of Sunday, August 21st, 2022. All right, we have quite a few medium and high impact news events that will be released throughout the week. And I simply look at this to determine if we're going to have a lot of volume pumped into the market. And for me, a lot of volume details that we should be able to get in some pretty substantial trades. So if you're not used to trading while news is going on, then you just want to stay out of the market until things have settled down before you get back into trading. But I will tell you that these news events are used to hit our areas of interest. All right, so you just want to kind of be mindful of that as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. All right, we're going to be starting with the DXY. All right, short-term currency bias is bearish for the DXY index. So I am looking for a move up into a supply. Wait for my trade confirmation to begin to trade this to the downside, or I'm wanting price to take out a demand, retrace back into possibly the demand that was taken out, all right, as a flip zone, or look for a 4-hour supply to trade to the downside. Now if there is a case to where a supply is traded through, then I'll be doing the opposite. I'll be waiting for it to trade through it, come back to it maybe as a flip zone and trade to the upside, or come back to a 4-hour demand that was created to trade to the upside. Okay. All right, Aussie USD. All right, short-term currency bias is undecided on this pair. All right, so we're gonna simply have to wait for price to come into a supply or demand area and trade from there. Now we are currently on a downtrend. We just recently have traded through this demand and broken through, traded through this demand, and we've broken past this low. All right, so looking for a little bit of a retracement. And we do have imbalance here that needs to be filled or tapped into. So it's very possible that we'll trade through this 4-hour demand and at the minimum, come into the imbalance and trade down, or tap into the 4-hour supply and trade down as well. All right. However, if we start to see these 4-hour supplies being taken out, then we want to look for our long entry confirmation to take this pair to the upside. Okay. Pound USD, short-term currency bias is bullish or long. All right. We are sitting inside of institutional accumulation. All right. So that may work in our favor to catch this pair going long. I don't see any unmitigated 4-hour demand that is close by. All right. But we do have an area of demand down here that we did get a little bit of a response from. So we could see this pair turn around at the early part of the week, and then maybe pull back towards the end of the week for a small retracement. Okay, so that is pound USD. All right, USD CAD. All right, short-term currency bias is short for this pair, so I'm looking for a 4-hour supply to be tapped into. All right, the nearest 4-hour unmitigated supply is going to be here. All right, we do have a little bit of a transitional zone right here that I did not mark. All right, so it's very possible that this pair could tap into this transitional zone and then push down to the downside. This leg is currently on an uptrend, breaking through this most recent high. So it is possible that we could get a pullback into any of these demand levels, and then see this pair trade to the upside to tap into a supply, and then trade to the downside. Now we are sitting inside of institutional distribution. We've had, let's see, it tapped in here once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6 times. This is now on the 7th time that it's tapped into this institutional distribution. It may go higher into it, but only time and price will tell, of course. So we just want to be patient and see what it does. A couple of things did catch my eye here. I'm going to mark this as a demand as well as this as a demand. All right, unmitigated demand that we can see price retrace back to. Okay. All right. Again, if price starts to come back, taking out these lows, then I'm looking to trade it to the short side on a retracement, either into the flip zone or a newly formed 4-hour supply. Okay, so again, we trade what the market gives us. Wouldn't be necessarily trying to hold these long term, just in case. All right, we get a pullback, but we want to get in and get our profits and get out. So that is USD CAD. Moving on to Euro USD. Euro USD short-term currency bias is undecided. We are on a current downtrend leg. All right, supply being made and respected. Nothing really has been tested as far as these supplies here. We are sitting inside of 4-hour demand, so it is possible that we could see this pair give us a trade entry confirmation, and we can take it up, possibly filling in imbalance here, so it might be short profits, taking partial profits, moving stop loss into profit, and just kind of letting it run or go. All right, so that is Euro USD. Moving on to USD/JPY. USD/JPY short-term currency bias is undecided at this point. We are currently on a uptrending leg of price. We're sitting inside of institutional distribution as well as 4-hour supply. So we will be looking for a trade entry confirmation to take this to the downside. See, here's this unmitigated. I'm sorry. All right, that is not unmitigated. Okay, so again, we could see this give us a trade entry confirmation to take this to the downside, and taking partial profits as imbalance is being filled in. All right. So again, we are currently on an uptrend. However, we're sitting inside 4-hour supply. We've gotten a couple of positive responses. These candles, we have a wick here and a wick here as well. So we could see this pair going ahead to trade to the downside. So I'll be looking for a trade entry confirmation to take this to the downside until we get into supply to possibly to take this to the upside as well. All right, USD Swiss short-term currency bias is short. All right, we are currently on an uptrending leg, getting ready to go into institutional distribution as well as a 4-hour supply. So that fits nicely with the currency bias. So again, I'll be looking for price to come into this 4-hour supply, give me a trade entry to take this pair to the downside, taking partial profits at imbalance as well as the lows. Okay. All right. USD Mexican peso short-term institutional bias for this pair is short. Price rejected off of this institutional distribution zone as well as this 4-hour. So we probably already have our trade entry confirmation to go ahead and take this pair to the downside. We want to be careful because we do have a 4-hour demand that is in close proximity. So we could see a response. So if you do get your trade entry confirmation, you guys just want to be careful and be sure to trail your stop loss and be prepared to take this pair, to the upside. We are currently on an uptrending leg, so it's very possible we could get a pullback, to this 4-hour demand or institutional accumulation down here. All right, NZD USD short-term currency bias is long. All right, so I'm looking for this pair to come into any of these unmitigated 4-hour demands as well as this institutional accumulation area to take this pair to the upside. We are currently on a downtrending leg. So you guys just want to be mindful of that as well, because we could get a pullback into unmitigated 4-hour supply and see this pair continue down to the downside. All right, moving on to Bitcoin. Short-term currency bias for Bitcoin is long. We are sitting in 4-hour demand. So from the onset, I will be looking for a trade entry confirmation to take this pair long and probably exiting here at the filling of this imbalance and preparing to take this pair to the downside in this unmitigated 4-hour supply here. All right, moving on to Ethereum. Short-term currency bias is long for this pair as well. We are currently in a downtrending leg, sitting in between unmitigated supply as well as demand. All right, so I'll be looking for some demand plays. So simply price will move down into demand. Looking for my trade entry to take this to the upside to see if it coincides with our short-term currency bias. However, if if it pushes up into supply, then of course, yes, we're looking for trade entry confirmation to take this to the short side. Okay, and we do have a couple of unmitigated 4-hour supplies that we could be looking for price to push off of here. Okay, moving on to gold, XAU USD. Short-term currency bias is undecided for gold. We are currently in a downtrending leg. All right, we are sitting in 4-hour demand. All right, so from the onset, I'll be looking for a trade entry to take this pair to the upside, closing the trade out at imbalance fill and seeing if we get a positive response from this supply to take this, to continue this to the downside, coinciding with the downtrending leg that we are on. All right, moving on to silver, XAG USD. Short-term currency bias for silver is long. All right, so I'm looking for price to come into either this 4-hour demand or this institutional accumulation. Looking for my trade entry confirmation to take this up to the long side, and looking to get out once we get up into these 4-hour mitigated supplies, and then I'll be looking to trade these to the downside. Okay, but again, from the onset, I'm looking for a trade entry confirmation to take this to the long side to coincide with our short-term currency bias of the pair going long. All right, moving on to US oil. Short-term currency bias for US oil is long. So from the onset, I'm looking for price to come into an unmitigated demand zone to take this to the upside, unless we start to visit a mitigated supply, and then we can take this pair to the downside. We are currently on an uptrending leg. We just recently have taken out these highs. We saw a retracement coming down, not actually tapping into the 4-hour demand, so this is still unmitigated. So we could still see price push down further into this demand before it goes up, or it could push down further for lower unmitigated demand as well before pushing up. So that's what I'll be looking for on US oil. SPX 500. All right, short-term currency bias is undecided on this pair. We are currently in a downtrending leg. We're pretty much at the start of a downtrending leg. You guys can see where I came in and took some shorts here because of that. But anyway, we are on a downtrending leg, so I'll be looking actually initially to see if I get a trade entry confirmation to take this to the upside. It'll be a short trade because I do have a 4-hour supply here that I'll be looking for price to come into to trade to the downside to continue in the direction of this current down leg that we are on. Okay, all right, that's 100. Short-term currency bias is undecided for this pair as well, but we are in a downtrending leg. We can see where we came up into a 4-hour supply on the NAS 100, and it started to trade to the downside. So I'm looking for this pair to come up into a 4-hour supply and possibly take this to the downside until we get around demand, and I'll be looking to take trades to the upside once we're inside of demand and we get a trade entry confirmation for the NAS 100. All right, guys, last but certainly not least, US 30. All right, short-term currency bias for this pair is long. We are currently in a downtrending leg. All right, so I'm gonna initially want to see price come into an unmitigated demand. Here recently, this past Friday, we did tap into this 4-hour demand here. All right, so it is very possible that we could get a trade entry confirmation and then see this pair push further to the upside. But either way it goes, we just simply wait for price to come into our areas of interest, look for our trade entry confirmations, and then we take those trades accordingly. All right, guys, that is going to be it for this week's supply and demand market forecast. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you did not enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs down. Comment either way down below. Let me know what pairs you guys will be looking at, what you'll be trading this week, what's on your watch list. And if you're not a subscriber of the channel, please do me the honor and subscribing to the channel. All right, guys, as always, please remember, if you stay in God, you will stay in control. And until next time, happy pip fishing. Bye-bye.